prepping that joint, loosening it up a little bit. And then you do the compressions, kind of hand walk the compressions. I'm using the top of my hand to kind of roll over the tibia.
Yep.
And then the heel of my hand and my thumb are pressing in all the way as I'm going up, right? And so that's prepping that stirrup muscle, right? And gently kind of squeezing on gastroc and soleus. And as you just kind of rock back and forth, come up and you get to the knees and you get in around the knees and you make like kind of cage around the knees. I don't know why, I don't know if it feels good to you, but to me this feels like really neat and good. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a unique kind of.
Well, yeah, because the knees don't typically move around like that.
Yeah, and you can kind of get the patella kind of loosened up, right? And like, and as you're here with that, you're kind of loosening up that what is it, the aponeurosa or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I think it's an aponeurosa. And then you can just kind of like hand walk all the way up, hand walk back down. More cage work. And then slide down with the compressions. And see now you're warmed up feeling, right? And you can even do like some circles with the ankles at this point.
Yeah.
Kind of get them involved. And you can come back and do that where you put your hands on the bottom of the feet and do that lean
I'll do that a lot, like when I'm toweling off their feet with the hot towel on their feet. After I've already worked on them.
So gather, drop in the middle. I feel like that way you're not really like, when you kind of lift somebody up and then, it's so much work.
Right.
So we are going to grab right above the knee, under, on the outside of the ankle, push in with this, pull out with that, right? Then hand on the hip, and very gently, very slowly sink down into a stretch. Let me know where your limit is. And a lot of times I will come over here, especially if they have really tight adductors. You can actually get in here and use your forearm, and you like press it down and then turn. Press and roll. Press and roll. And so like you can get in there and get that loosened up really nicely, very easily with minimal effort. You can also, if they're flexible, bring them into extension. Then place their foot. See, I'm holding it here. Now I'm going to put my foot down and I'm going to lunge forward.
There you go.
Let me know when it is to your limit. Right there? Okay, so take a nice deep breath. Now while you're here, I can also get into here and do a little bit of compression in these adductors here, which are very, very tight.
And where is this foot?
Just right here.
You just have your knee up? Okay.
Yeah. And where we're at right here, my knee is almost exactly even with my toes.
Okay.
If I were to go a little bit further, that like if you could stretch to here, I'd be over it.
Gotcha.
But if that happened, I might take a step forward.
That's what I would think,
So then after we come out of that, do a nice traction pull. Or you can come up and do a little bit of like range of motion in the hip. open it up. I've got the legs supported. I'm gonna reach under. I'm gonna grab the sheet. And I'm going to say, Leah, you hold this for me, please. You are now in control of the sheet. You have its destiny in your hands. Be gentle. So, we're going to come up towards your chin. Make sure that you don't let me go past the point of comfort, because once you're past the point of comfort, you're going to recoil and then we're going to lose ground.
Gotcha.
So, once it starts, before it strains, let me know.
Okay.
So, nice deep breath.
Vastly different between my right and my left too.
A lot of people are.
Yeah.
And if you are feeling like you want to go further, you can say, okay, now very gently press the heel of your foot against my hand for 5 seconds.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now take a deep breath and let go. Stop.
That's good.
So we got past that.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
And for this one as well, we can also bring it into extension. And just very slowly. Like, I'm not putting any effort at all. There's nothing coming from my shoulder.
Okay.
Like, when I was taught to stretch, I was taught to do that.
Yeah.
Right? All coming from the shoulder, coming from force. We are limbs bending in the wind. Right? We are water. We are free form, free flow. We are kind. We are gentle. Right?
Yeah.
We are not doing sports stretching. So then the next one, so that's 12 o'clock. 1 o'clock is towards this shoulder. Now everybody's not going to need it. Sometimes when we start going these directions, people will start feeling it right up in here. That's like, you gotta get abs and hip flexors released when that starts happening. But I usually will hold the heel, or right above the heel, and then we're just gonna come towards the shoulder. And I'm just gonna lean into it till you stop moving. Take a nice deep breath. As you breathe in, I'm gonna back off just a tiny bit, and then when you breathe out, I'm gonna lean in a little more. Right? So you're right here. Now breathe in. Now breathe out. See how that went?
Yeah.
Now breathe in. I'm coming back a little. Now breathe out. This is similar to that reciprocal inhibition thing that I did on the other one when I said press. That's reciprocal inhibition because I love this fact. I'm such a dork. But Sherrington's Law. You know what Sherrington's Law, do you remember that from the MBLEX? Okay, so Sherrington's Law is the law of reciprocal inhibition, right? So if, so wonderful that this man's name was Sherrington, because if two muscles are sharing a bone, one of them has to get a signal to let go when the other is engaged, or there will be nothing happening, right? So Sherrington's Law says if you need this muscle to release, all you have to do is engage this one and it'll get a signal from the brain to let go. So that's where you get that resistance and then you catch further, right? So I love that it's called Sherrington's. It's amazing. Like, yes, aptly named.
Right. That's funny.
So, right, so we are 1 o'clock. And then we've got that's 12 o'clock.
Right.
At the 1 o'clock. And you really, like, with the stretching, you kind of really want to, like, really zero in on their breathing.
Yeah.
Because when you exhale, that is a natural state of letting go.
Yeah.
So like every time you're breathing in, that's a contraction, and every time you're releasing the breath, that's a full release in your body. So naturally, anything in your body that is holding tension subtly lets go whenever you release your breath every time. Like, so being able to do the stretches in conjunction with their breathing, where like as they come in, you kind of back off a little bit and allow them to expand, and then as they go out, you just dip in deeper with them, and then they come up a little bit, and then you
Right.
and then come up a little, and then I'm gonna put myself to sleep.
Yeah.
Alright, so then we got 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock is gonna come near the elbow. Now you noted which muscles you felt it in when we were at 1 o'clock.
Yep.
So now, coming over to 2 o'clock, you can see that it's just like a slightly different group of muscles that are getting the pulley there. And with this one, people tend to either not go anywhere at all, or you about think you're gonna flip them off the table. And again, nice little rolls in between are good. Then you've got your 3 o'clock stretch, which is right through here. Now, one of the points that you want to make sure you're doing too when you're doing these stretches is you don't want to be going like this.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be going like that, right?
Yep. You
want to make sure that you're keeping the ankle, the hip, and the knee in as proper alignment as you can. Because if you're like this, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But this does. And so you want to be real conscious and aware that you're keeping an even plane. So you go pretty far over here. Now, if you want to get even more of a stretch in this, you can ask your client to go ahead and put their arm over their head, straight up towards the wall.
This one?
Yeah, reach up over the head. Right.
I was just thinking that one therapist would have people side lying and do that. Basically what you're doing, but this arm up while they're side lying.
So then, to come down, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. We are going to cross your ankles, please. Choop, choop. Then I'm going to grab all of my slack. I'm going to place the slack over your hip. And then I'm just going to very gently roll you up like that. So, how's that feeling? It's really relaxing. You can also extend your arm over your head to increase the stretch on this one as well. And it's just really like relaxing and nice. And then you just let them down. The spots. Like that. Do a little bit of traction. There we go. Ta-da. Now this one, I'm going to come up and grab right under your arm. See how if I'm like grabbing here and here now that
It takes it away. Yep.
just resting your arm, and I'm just giving a little bit of a pull. I'm not trying to rip it off and beat you with it. I'm going to come up here this way. Now some people will stop right here. That's fine. Let them. Some people will go all the way to the table. Also, allow that. No judgment. Do a little bit of pull up this way. And then you come over the front. Stretch a little bit. With women, this one's a little hard to stretch in the front because the boobage gets in the way.
Yeah, I would put that category.
Mine are almost gone now, thank God. I was like a quadruple F when I was son.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. I needed to have like a 3X shirt just to get it buttoned. It was terrible. And I had been very tiny most of my life up until that point.
Oh, wow.
I started out like 120 pounds was like my average weight for most of my adult life. And then I moved down to Key West and I ended up gaining, over the course of 5 years, about 110, 120 pounds.
Yeah.
120. Well, I went from, when I got to Key West, I was 130, and when my son was 3.5 years old, I was 250. So I went from 120 to 250.
Yeah.
It's a big jump.
It is. It is.
So I've lost a good chunk of it now, but it's just, it took a long time. And really, I think what it took was an attitude change too. I keep telling myself, I love my flat tummy and my tiny waist. Because you know what? They're in there still. Just because I have this does not mean that I don't still have a flat tummy. So I'm going to live in reality where my tummy is flat. Thank you very much. This is just hanging out extra. I don't even know what this is, but my tummy is flat. And when I started like thinking like that and just thinking, I love my graceful ballerina arms, even though they were like, you know, but loving the body that I knew was underneath there inside is making that body come out.
Of course.
So it was a very helpful mind shift.
Yeah.
But man, it was hard being that heavy for after being so skinny for so long. And it was very bizarre. And I still, it's been like 2.5, 3 years since I got back down to like recognizable Amber again.
Yeah.
And I still, like, when I look in the mirror, I'm expecting to see 250-pound Amber.
Yeah.
When I go in to buy clothes, I go straight to the XXX large.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, no, I'm 12, 14 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
same. No, I've lost some, not that much weight yet, but
I didn't show you this one too. But how much have you lost?
I lost about 50 pounds.
Sweet.
I found a few months back in this last portion of this last year, but I know what I did.
Yeah.
But the mind shift is huge. See, this one isn't as fluid.
I didn't do this stretch on the other side, I don't think. I love this one too.
That's good.
And this
But
one,
it's hard to get your mind wrapped around the change when you've been a certain size for forever. I just bought a wedding dress and I was like, no idea my size, and I was just like thinking everything was going to be too small. Because that's the life that I live. Because nothing looked good, nothing was comfortable, it was flattering.
yeah. I know, well, and I started thinking like people were like treating me different, you know, and it was just because like I used to bounce into a room and with like glitter and sunshine, and then once I gained weight, I would kind of like try to sneak into the room.
Yeah.
And so of course people weren't gonna respond the same way. If I was still acting like a freaking manic pixie thing when I was 250 pounds, they would have still reacted to me the same way they did before I gained weight.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have.
Yeah.
It was me the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the cool thing for me was I was heavy when I was at my last job, and then some clients have found me since, and it's been like a year or more, and they're like, oh my gosh, I think they were like, we could tell you were unhappy.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I was. And that's how I dealt with it.
Yeah.
This one does not, like this hip just
Chips Ahoy and fried foods.
Yeah.
And so then I went on a really, I have my goddaughter came and stayed with me with her 2 kids. And,
That's pushy.
yep. And when I picked them up from the bus station, she didn't know who I was.
Oh, wow.
She looked me dead in the face 5 different times with me smiling and waving her over and did not know who I was. And I hadn't seen her in 5 years,
Yeah.
but like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, over here. And she looks right at me and then keeps looking forever.
Wow.
And that was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Right there. So I started changing my life and changing my attitude, and
Attitude is a smart one.
And then I also would only allow myself, I cut out all sugar for like 6 months. I didn't have anything with, like, no sweets. I had 1 square of dark chocolate probiotic a day. And when I first started, I hated it. I had to force it down.
Yeah.
Because dark chocolate was nasty.
Yeah.
But
It's
then
not sweet at all.
now, if I have milk chocolate, I'm like, ew, gross.
Right.
Eat dark chocolate.
I've started stretch. Yeah. I've started making my own with coconut oil.
Nice.
I get the cacao, whatever raw cacao stuff, and I mix. The recipe that I found was for honey, is the sweetener in it, and then you pour it into a mold or whatever. I mix honey and date syrup because the date syrup makes it taste like dark chocolate.
Nice.
And every now and then I'll make that as a little treat, or like I'll pour it on top of a yogurt and put it in the freezer so it's like you're eating an ice cream treat.
Well, one of the things that I saw too, when I took a psychology class, and it was talking about how your subconscious mind's job is to, like, interface with reality and everything, and that if you're one of the people that says, oh, I just look at a piece of chocolate cake and I gain 5 pounds, then every time you see chocolate cake, your subconscious mind is gonna say, oh, there's chocolate cake, slow the metabolism, because it thinks you're supposed to gain weight when you,
That's what you told it, yeah.
And so instead say, oh man, every time I even look at chocolate cake, I lose 5 pounds. And see what happens.
Right.
Just experiment with it. See if it works.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm burning more calories every time I see pie. My metabolism doubles. You know, it might work. And see, in this position, we can get in all up in here. Also, too, another thing, when I left the school 2 years ago, or a year ago, I left the school, I weighed the same amount as I weigh now, but I was a size 16, and now I can fit in a 12. My arms were probably 4 inches bigger than they are now.
Yeah.
Because once I got back in the spa, and I was doing this all day, like, it was like going and doing, like, resisted Qigong.
Yeah.
And if you don't, like, think about that you're doing it, like, I consciously was doing that.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't like, oh, I just went back to work and it happened.
Right.
I consciously was, like, using my muscles in the most efficient way to tone them up and make them sculpted.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it. And it was just like, and like within weeks, I just,
wow.
And I didn't lose any weight. I actually gained a little bit of weight because I gained a bunch of muscle.
Yep.
But your body is always gonna do things the laziest way, unless you tell it not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like when you're using, I'm tying this in because of body mechanics, right? So like when you're standing here and you're stretching your client, you could just like do effort with your arms and stretch your client, right? But that's going to put a lot of wear and tear on your arms. It's the lazy way to do it, truly, but it's also the way that's going to put the most stress on your body. However, if you take the time to position yourself, right, and you take the time, get in there, you take a big breath, and then as you breathe out, right, when you are trying to like tone up muscle, they tell you to do reps really, really, really slowly, right? Because it
a controlled movement,
right? That controlled, resistant movement. So if you're doing your stretch with your person like this, you are exercising and getting a slow, controlled movement and using your client's body as resistance, right? And so you're not efforting, you're just leaning in, but your core is engaged, your legs are engaged, your hips and your butt are engaged, and you've got this, it's like every single muscle in your body is all working together to just do that one movement, which means that like no one area is getting too much wear and tear. So when you're doing things the lazy way, one little area is getting the wear and tear. When you're doing things the holistic ergonomic way, everything is sharing the responsibility. Your whole body is moving. If you're working somewhere, you want to turn your feet, you know, and keep yourself aimed and keep, you know, like keep that strength in there and keep that stability and everything in there. So, but yeah, I will shut up now. So, if you would like to hop up and see how you feel with your, oh, wait, no, I
Oh, the neck.
Like key. Yes. We must do the neck. Alright, so I'm gonna come here with my belly button at the corner of the table. Alright, one leg pointed in each direction. I do this because if you're trying to put your arm under somebody's head at this angle, it gets weird. Right? So I come to the side. If I need to, I will scoop one hand under their head and lift, so that, because some people have like stiffer necks. So
no curve.
So I've got you right now about halfway, your cervical spine is halfway down the radius.
Your palm is flat down?
Palm up.
Oh, up.
So then now I'm going to make sure that I am tight in here, and then, do you feel that? And feel how slow I'm going? I'm just gonna let you hang out here, melt over my arm. Take a couple of nice deep breaths. And then when I feel your occipitals shift like I just did a second ago, I'm gonna very gently shift back towards your body and then rotate palm down. If I try to rotate palm down while I'm still engaged with your occipitals, it's gonna pop your head off. It's gonna roll down the street. So, then I'm gonna slide over here, and all I'm gonna do is just gently, slowly, carefully lift my elbow off the table. And your head's gonna like slide down my arm. Right, the point of contact of your occipitals is changing as I raise my elbow. Are you getting a decent stretch? Right, and so while you're in here, you can also back off a little bit, turn the head, come back in, back off a little bit, turn the head, come back in. If you want to get different angles, you can get creative with it, have fun. You're going to come out, back over here, slide out, and then come back over to this side. Meow, meow. And we'll make sure that we're close enough to the occipitals that when we rotate, we're actually going to catch them. Because if you're too close to the body, when you rotate up, you're just like, it's going to be all air ball.
Yeah.
So you want to have that closeness in there, and then rotate up nice and easy, not too fast. And then nice little hold for a few seconds after you take a couple of breaths. You can feel your heartbeat in my arm. And not yet, it's about to pop. Back towards the body, floppy down flat, and then slide over and raise slowly. Make sure you're letting me know if it's ever uncomfortable. And sometimes your arm will slide out like mine just did, and you'll end up like on my wrist. Was that hard on your occipitals at all?
No.
Okay. So I could feel your occipitals really deeply on my radius, but you didn't feel my radius on your occipitals. So just pointing that out, because like while you're doing it, you might be like, oh
gosh,
no, that probably felt horrible, but it didn't. And so like here is where I should have stayed, but instead I stayed up like that. So, but that's a nice little stretchy stretch.
Okay.
And I just sucked a bunch of spit down my throat. I cannot seem to get through a day without choking on my own spit like 20 times. Yeah. It's ridiculous. All right. Well, hello. Now that you know my secret about choking on my own spit.